Thank you, Mr. Speaker. After a treacherous, extended game of hide and seek, Republicans this week are rushing through this House a wretched tax bill. The future of this sneak attack on America depends upon how quickly the truth can catch up with so many lies. This bill is just a way to curry favor with Washington's special interest, awarding tax windfalls to large multinational corporations and the fortunate few that sit way up atop the economic ladder. Don't worry, Republicans say. What middle-class people lose to pay for this unbalanced tax cut, it will eventually trickle down. There'll be a little fairy dust. Magically, it will appear in your pocket, and you'll get more than ever. This is a massive corporate tax break where the tail is wagging the dog with the corporate tax break. The Republican gimmick that Americans are being asked to swallow is the same experience we've had previously. The middle class will not enjoy the benefits of this bill. Both history and arithmetic tell us that. First, they are borrowing this money, much of it, to finance this tax break from the Chinese, the Saudis, and others who we've looked to pay for our immense national debt in the past. And secondly, we know from experience that tax breaks like this do not create lasting jobs. But it's even worse than all that because Republicans are creating a special new loophole for outsourcing so many more American jobs. Candidate Trump last year, of course, he made a central theme about protecting American jobs and stopping the outsourcing, but he's endorsed a tax bill that does just the opposite. It creates a gaping new loophole to encourage the greater outsourcing of our jobs and our profits abroad. Here's how it all works. A multinational investor has a choice to make. Do I invest with new manufacturing in San Antonio, or do I choose Stuttgart or Shanghai? If I invest in America under their proposal, it'll be a 20% tax on my profits. But if I invest abroad in Shanghai or in Stuttgart, the most I pay is 10 cents on the dollar, and more likely, I don't pay anything because of the way this bill is constructed. The bill will create some new jobs, no doubt, but it's a mighty long commute to Europe or Asia to get one of those jobs. With the help of Washington's special interest, they have rigged up an even more complex international tax dodging system that pretends to tax foreign investment at half the U.S. rate, but in fact permits many of these companies to funnel even more of their profits into tax havens where their liability in America will end up being zero and much of their profit will not be taxed anywhere by anybody. Whatever happened to making America great? And for Republicans, it's not enough to reward future tax dodging. No, they want to go back and reward tax dodging from the past, and we've sure had plenty of that. Because for years, large multinational firms have exploited these island tax havens, setting up artificial offices in the Bahamas or the Caymans to get their tax bill down to little or nothing, leaving working families and those American-oriented businesses, small businesses, large domestic-oriented businesses, to pay the bill for our national security that they declined to pay. The recent revelations of the Panama Papers and more recently the Paradise Papers have exposed how these companies use these tax laws. How do the Republicans respond? By granting multinationals with hordes of taxes that they hold in separate accounts they call offshore but sit right there on Wall Street, by letting them pay less than half of what they owe at a rate much lower than most middle-class families pay. It's another Republican myth meant to convince working families to go along with this proposal. Many of these profits come from those companies that claim they're trapped offshore, but it is only the American people that are being trapped by this proposal. Goldman Sachs itself has said repatriation is likely to have a limited effect because repatriated earnings are already working here for domestic activities. There is nothing patriotic about repatriation. This is a tax bill born by the middle class, to benefit the few and these multinationals to reward them for what they've been doing in the past, and it must be rejected. I yield back.